course, results and analysis have certainly been the backbone of tonight, but we also wanted to make room for a bigger discussion about the future of our city as well. So right now I'm lucky enough to be joined by Joseph Smith with Foundation of Black Communities and a vice principal as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Diana Chan McNally is a crisis support worker and a homelessness advocate. Thank you for being here. And Stephen Mensah is the executive director of the Toronto Youth Cabinet. Nice to have all three of you on board for this. I'll pick up with that question because I find it kind of fun. Joseph, what do you think? If you were mayor, what would you do in the city of Toronto right now? We've talked a lot about all the problems that exist in this city, but there's a lot of optimism and a lot of hope for the future. So if you were elected mayor tonight, what would be your first order of business?
Well, after my panic attack has subsided, I'd probably think about investing in innovation infrastructure. Some people call them innovation hubs, but basically spaces where businesses can be incubated, they can be accelerated. You can also have co-working spaces. So much of them are concentrated within the downtown core, and they aren't spread out a lot. And so that obviously further marginalizes people who often feel distant from our economic activities within the city. And I'd want to build them as many as possible, as many different spaces as possible away from the downtown core. It's
interesting about campaigns. I find sometimes they become so laser focused on one or two issues. In this one, we really saw housing, transit, safety were the top ones. You didn't really see much about innovation. Do you think that that was a bit of a miss through this campaign?
It was a bit of a miss. I think it's one of the underlying causes for many issues that we deal with. I mean, a lot of public safety conversations have come up throughout the campaigns, and many people have spoken about what they would do, but they most likely spoke about it in a reactive sense. Some people had some innovation or progressive ideas about it, but we have to invest in some of the solutions that deal with those long-time risk factors that contribute to criminal behavior and activity. And one of them is economic disparity and poverty. And so that's why the first thing I'll do would be that.
All right, Joseph, as part of a school administration, when we're looking at leadership qualities, Olivia Chow obviously taking up this top job at the city, what do you think she's going to need to focus on as she's trying to unite council, she's trying to negotiate with the province and the feds? Yeah. How's that going to look for her?
Well, I think the answer is in one of the words you used, unite. She's going to have to ensure that one of the biggest mandates under her belt is, how do I make this a more inclusive space? She is a representative that represents diverse identities within the city. And so she's going to have to lean on that in order to create more space for more voices to share what they would like done, what they would like changed. And I think that's going to galvanize the support.
Okay, and Joseph, how about for you? We're watching this shot here of Olivia Chow's campaign headquarters. They're obviously really excited. They think that she's going to have a very successful time in office. As you're looking at her next weeks and years ahead, what would you decide would be a barometer for success for Olivia Chow?
Gotta agree with Dan. I mean, we are operating on about over $16 billion operating budget to keep services delivering at the pace they're currently delivering at. And the growing need for those services just continues to mount and mount. And so her ability to ensure that we extract more resources from various spaces to ensure that those services are delivering at that same pace and they can accommodate the growing need, that's going to be one of the key things we're all going to be looking at.
One of the big things that was talked about during this campaign was money and how things were going to be paid for. Olivia Chow took quite a lot of heat through this campaign for not putting a dollar figure on how much property taxes would go up under her administration. She kept on saying it would be modest, though people were throwing a tax at her saying, what does that even mean? What's that going to look like? Certainly, it seems like majority of Torontonians didn't seem to mind either which way. What do you think, Joseph, about that in terms of where people's priorities were at as they were casting their ballot?
I think people are aware that Olivia Chow is inheriting something that has already been preset in terms of the councillors already in positions and seats. And so while on the one hand you want to be progressive and innovative with your ideas, you also have to wait and see what you're actually receiving and what can actually be done with the people that are working with you. And so I understand the concern around saying too much, but we are all going to be looking to see what's actually going to be done because there are concerns about that raising.
And she did speak about, in that speech, how she wanted to unite everybody, bring people together. Obviously, that meant different people across the city, people from different political stripes as well. Former Mayor John Tory has now congratulated the mayor-elect on taking this job that he resigned from earlier this year, congratulating her, noting the fact that he knows her well, and knows that she loves this city as well. So certainly it seems like we're seeing a lot of folks jumping into this bandwagon to congratulate. And Joseph, I'm curious, one of the points that Olivia Chow continually has said throughout the campaign, and even in that speech just there, that she wanted to build a city where everybody felt like they belonged. How do you do that? Big question.
Big question, and something that I've been challenged or tasked with doing within my respective spaces of leadership. And it's not easy because the first stab at it, you have to combat people's distrust, people's feeling like they've been marginalized for so long or disaffected, and you have to rev them up. And I think the groundswell of enthusiasm she's been able to cultivate is the first step to getting them to buy in to a message that she'll have to continuously market so that it takes root, that this is a place where everyone can find themselves, and this is a place where it's reflective of people's diverse identities. And so it's going to take time. It's not going to be simple, but I think she has her ear to the ground, and I think she's willing to hear what folks need from her and from this city to feel like they actually belong.
Okay, absolutely. And I'm a pretty optimistic guy. I want to end the show here as we start to wind down our election coverage with a little bit of a happy note. What's the favorite thing? What's the thing that you love about this city? Olivia Chow is going to be the next mayor. Maybe it's something that she can improve on if it's already good. I don't know. Joseph, what do you think? What's your favorite thing about the city of Toronto?
Since I was a kid, it was always the diversity here. I mean, I remember being young, growing up in the Jane and Finch community, and everybody from every walk of life was present within that community, and we were able to share similar stories, and there was common ground. But when there were points of differences, they didn't seem like they contributed to conflict, right? And so I think in this city, there is incredible momentum around that feature of our city. It's very unique. We stand out as a world-class city when it comes to that. And I think that's something we have to cherish, especially looking at global and local events over the past 5-6 years. It's something I think we've had to appreciate more.
Okay, Diana, how about for you?